Hi, everyone. This is Lisa from Soulution Evolution.
Hello, everybody. This is Nita, the Astromystic. And we are here tonight, to give the people out there in this world some guidance and intuitive advice for the month of June 2020. And we are in some like crazy times right now, so we are doing this a little bit different than most readings we do. So we're going to be more, what would you say, Lisa, more personal or?
Yeah, I think I really do. Honestly, I think that this time around, obviously everything is different this time around. When we were in the last discussion, did we even talk about the pandemic at the time? I don't remember.
I don't think we did.
I think it was right before. And, we had that whole wave of energy changing, and then we stepped foot into this new realm. And I think what happened is it triggered in us all of our, really, how much can you take? That's kind of what this is about. How much more can you take? And I think that when we started talking about June, when we started talking about the energy, we were bringing up right away. First, we each talked about our own personal reactions to everything, and how, when I was watching it unfold, I was starting to think about, from an outside perspective, why people, have riots, why they have assembly. And I understood it, and I know why we do it. It's important to take a stand and to come together and to make a movement progress forward, be heard. But I was only watching a couple times a day, little bits at a time, because I sat down at first and I just kept like glued to the TV, and it just progressively got worse and worse and worse. I said, I've got to pull myself away. Well, I had pulled myself away just long enough to let myself calm down, elevate to a bigger perspective, take my energy fully away from the energy of the rioting and the mayhem and the disregard for everything. And as soon as I did that, I felt a calm, because when I was going in and diving in with the pain and the frustration and the anger and the control and the manipulation, oh my God, my neck, you could see my veins popping out and my temples were bursting, and I was talking really loud and I had a heavy voice, and I realized that the minute I bring that energy to the table, I'm adding to that collective energy, my negative energy, and that completely shuts down my power to change it, to send any kind of energy that's good and healing and balancing. And so that's where you came in the picture for me, was after I had finally calmed down and got myself to the place of like, okay, I can do this. I'm going to start focusing the healing on the collective and bringing it's almost like taking a wet sponge and putting it on a smoldering fire to really put it out. But by the time you had got to me, it was a raging inferno, and I had calmed down just enough to hear you. And what I heard in you when you were talking was everything I was doing that morning. And so I'm like, okay, let me get her down there real quick. And you did the same for me on another level. So once we talked about it, it was clear, okay, we aren't going to be able to do jack crap. Pardon me. We aren't going to be able to do jack for anybody if our energy matches their vibration. Yeah. If we bring ourselves to that level of like chaos and fear and helplessness, then what have we done? We have just like fuel to the fire. So it was nice to have you and I have that conversation last night, because it really put it in perspective how much power we have at home as an individual, putting our energy out there in a better way. And I want to say something really quick before you talk, is I know that on Facebook I was really expressing my anger, and it was coming out as just confusion and why, and how can you not see this, and why isn't it clear to you? And I'm speaking to my own people that get it, whether they're on the right side, the left side, whether they're black or white, whether they're in between. I realize that everybody understands from their own level of perspective, but we all feel the energy, all of us. And if we can all understand what to do with that, talking about it's fine. That's just allowing you to get it out of you. There's nothing wrong with that. But you got to respect yourself first in doing that, right? Because then you just dive right back into that horrible energy, and nobody deserves to be in that energy. Nobody.
Right.
So
right.
I think that's just kind of where I'm feeling like, oh, I'm so done with this feeling, but clearly we're not. So we've got to address it, and that's what today's about.
Yes,
so,
yes.
Thanks for letting me go on and on.
No, you're good. And to add to that, because I'm sure other people are feeling this too, and I as well, I feel everything on such a deep level that when I was seeing this, and I haven't turned the news on in weeks and weeks,
and
hard. So people are just sending me things, and I'm getting all this from other people, and this one video,
that one killed me. Jesus.
The one video, I sank, like my whole life just sank into a hole. And it took me all weekend to process that. And I feel like other people,
you can tell them, like, you don't have to go into it, but tell them the video, tell them what did it, because that, to me, that was it. Like, that it was total disregard for human life. So you can tell them about it, tell them about it.
Yeah, I may start crying, but that's okay.
Sorry. So processing the emotion, right? Healthy.
Yeah, the video that was the last one that I watched that about this whole thing that we've got going on in the world was a riot, and the people were the man was trying to protect his business, and I guess the people didn't like that, and so they started beating him and kicking him, and I think they were even hitting him with a skateboard. I think it was a skateboard, wasn't it?
It was, I don't know, it was just horrible.
And like, I feel the pain right now because I have tears in my eyes and my heart's beating really fast, and I can't breathe right now. So this it sank me way so far that the pain that I felt for this person was immense. It's painful now to even talk about it, and it's not even, I'm not even the person.
I feel like my heart is somebody squeezing it right now. That's
like I can't breathe. And so this is what Lisa and I talked about yesterday, because I had even though I feel this way about a lot of people in the world, when people are in pain, I feel it on a physical level. I know that sounds crazy for a lot of people, but
no, it's not. Not crazy. It's not crazy at all.
Yeah, it's just so this is why we're doing this video a little differently today, is to try to connect to people on more of a personal level, but we're giving you intuitive guidance to try to navigate through these kinds of feelings, because we're not the only people that are feeling this. And if we can help somebody else come up out of the depths of, because I was in a really dark place yesterday and the day before from this one video that I saw, and it literally crushed my soul for days. So all right.
You know what it was too? It was, I'll tell you the moment that was the absolute worst for me. When you watched that last blow, and then it's like they just scattered away from him. And it was like you could just feel the implosion become the explosion. And it's like moving away from that person's body. Everybody just went, oh my God. Yeah, you're saying, oh my God, now. That's what that hit me, like, oh my God, now that he's a tangled mess, now that you got your aggression out, now that you don't give a F where that anger went into and what the result of that anger was, now you say, wow. And that's when I just freaking die. I mean, I literally was so crushed. That's when I started writing about it. I'm like, nope. How can you do this? How can you not see what this is? So, yeah, if I'm feeling that and I'm nowhere near it, if I'm feeling that it's after the fact of it happening, if I'm feeling that, I have nothing to do with it, so to speak, you know?
Yeah. I
How
mean,
does it feel for those people that are like watching it in person and then filming it on their cameras? And then it's just heart wrenching. So you take the level of aggression all the way down to the level of just complete exhaustion, empty, gone. The person died. He died.
I felt like
Ugh.
it was this is I don't know how people film stuff like this, because I'm
Answer me this.
literally in tears over here.
Answer me this, Nita. That there is no disagreement in the world that the police officer that did that with the knee on the neck, guilty.
Yeah, I
100%.
agree.
Also, there is no argument about the 3 officers around him that helped or did nothing. Guilty,
Guilty.
guilty,
Yeah.
guilty. Now, answer me. The gentleman on the ground who was being beaten, aren't all of those people that were watching guilty?
Guilty. Yes.
So answer, like, I want to say, like, how do you not, I understand oppression. I'm not coming from that perspective. Please don't take it that way. But
Right.
I know the word. I know what it means. I've seen it happen. I know the history. That doesn't mean that I'm not understanding the gravity of it. That doesn't mean that I don't feel your pain.
Right.
That doesn't mean that I can't see through how to get to the other side of it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
I do. And I think
Ooh.
that we just need to let people know, like, the best avenue, so other people don't get caught in these horrible emotions, because I think that these times are very trying, and there is going to be some good and bad, and I don't care how you look at it, there's wrong on every levels, because it's been wrong on every level for way before our time, way before our parents' time. I mean, this has been going on for hundreds of years, and we're not here to talk about the past and things we can't control. We're just here to, like, hey guys, something to hold on to while the darkness,
Yeah.
while we're
Well,
in the dark.
yeah. And honestly, we're not even here to tell you what to do. We're
Yeah,
just here to
yeah.
talk about, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a
No.
psychologist or a, psychiatrist. I'm not an expert in any area of this type of behavior. All I know is I'm an empath and I feel it to the depths of my bones and beyond. And if I feel it that way, everybody's an empath. The clearer you are in your healing and the more evolving you do as a soul, the deeper that pain goes, whether you're involved in it or not. And so it's very critical to understand that to have a discussion like this is to have the compassion and the empathy for the situation. We understand. But where does it come from? When we were looking at the cards, I don't know if you want to talk about what you pulled or if you want me to talk about what I pulled or if we want to do it together.
Go for it.
But the very first card that came up was a green tourmaline. It's a card of enlightenment. Now think about that. The question was, when I was pulling the cards, was, what is the collective, where are they at right now? What are they looking for? What is the collective looking for in this rampage? What are they looking for? And we all, okay, I want to address really quickly the energies that are there on purpose, that are causing and that are planting the seeds and that are instigating. I'm not talking about those energies. I'm talking about the very, it's not sensitive, what's the word? The very delicate collective, because we're all in the rising right now. Everyone has an opportunity to wake up right now, and what's happening in that confusion of waking up, spiritually waking up, starting to see truths in a different way, starting to see your life from a different perspective, starting to question your own patterns and your own way of being in the world. What are we looking for? At that stage in our development, what are we looking for? We're still in the 3D. We're still having to live this life and deal with these inequities. Is that right? And deal with the things that aren't fair in our lives and the things that we don't understand while we're going through this evolution within our soul, right? So what does the collective need at this point? Well, aren't we all seeking that enlightenment, the understanding, the thing that's going to help us rise above the things that are trying to take us out?
Yes.
It's the ability for us to step into this some kind of greatness ahead of us, and we keep bumping our head on the wall of the 3D living of those people planting those bricks in the middle of the city so they could throw it into buildings. It's the people that, call, down the street, hey, Macy's is open, come on, you can get stuff. It's not those people. Those aren't the people.
Yeah.
Those are the people that are opportunists that are looking for it. But the people that are looking for the understanding and the enlightenment are the ones that wanted they have the anger, they have the sadness, they have the questioning, they have the exhaustion of all of this sadness and decay, moral and otherwise. Those are the people that we're talking about. Those are the people that we're talking to, that we feel that we know what you're going through, and that there is enlightenment beyond the pain. And actually that's where enlightenment comes from. It's taking the center of, it's sitting with the worst kind of pain and misunderstanding that you can ever have. It's from the deepest level of confusion and hurt and loneliness, sitting with it and watching it and being in it and not understanding it to such a depth that you actually rise from it with that enlightenment. You pull from it that pain, you pull from it and through it to take all of the lessons from it into your wisdom. And that's right, that's enlightenment.
Yeah. Right.
When you learn to use what you got from the depths of your pain for your growth, for your wisdom, for your understanding, you just have created a platform right in front of you to walk on. I'm going to walk a different path now. I'm going to be a different person in this understanding. I don't have to carry with me the burdens of the generations. I don't have to carry with me the pain of the broken. I can actually be the healing that's needed. I can actually move through it and take with me the growth opportunity. Now, in a moment like this, chaos, rendering pain and hurt and horrible things, yeah, it's really hard. It's really hard. But those of you who are paying attention, those of you who want the healing desperately, understand that from this pain comes rebirth, comes life, comes understanding. And to me, that's what the collective is looking for right now, understanding. Yes, they want fairness. Yes, they want equality. Yes, they want everything in the world good for us. It's a process.
Yeah.
It's a process.
I don't think that the answers are going to come externally, though. I've really thought about this a lot. Right. And so if we can get the message out there that it starts with us and it starts internally, and it starts with what we're projecting out there and what we're saying in our little communities and our friends, and hopefully, hopefully we can get enough out there where the communities will start like joining communities, and then we get bigger and bigger and bigger. Because
like we saw with the police doing with the community, hugging them, pulling them in, walking with them. But now recognize that deals with all those people that want to be heard like that. There's a whole collective out there that doesn't want anything to do with that. They want control, they want manipulation, they want what they want. And no amount of any work that our human selves can do is going to change that. Our spiritual self can do a whole lot of work behind the scenes. We can send that light. We can send that healing. We can collectively come together and raise that vibration of that particular collective.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And I think one of the things that came from me as we were speaking was, finding the people that you resonate with and that you're on the same vibration with, because just like we were talking a minute ago, when I slumped down into the
Ooh,
pits of darkness, I was I was having like anxiety, and I was having some dark thoughts and just all kinds of stuff. And then I was like, okay, I've got to like pull myself together. So I think that once we find our people and our tribes and our I don't really like the
trust.
word tribe, but our people, when we find our people, and the ones we resonate with and the ones we vibe with, that is how you're going to start changing within, and that's how you're going to set the ball moving to go into the future, like,
Mhm.
you know what I mean?
Yeah. I want to say real quick that you mentioned something about, moving forward. And I want to say quickly before we move out of that energy where we came
Yeah.
from, because we were both there. I mean,
Yeah.
I've talked to many of my friends who are all feeling the depth of that confusion and pain, and they're actually being confused in the messaging being given from the mainstream media to the people that are giving actual facts and real information and connecting the dots behind the scenes. It's those people, that we're trying to discern, like, well, they're the ones who are popular, they're the ones who are me. I mean, we've been watching them since we were kids, and then, oh, but what about, I don't know these people and I don't trust them and they're on this. It's like people are split screen their whole lives. Like, I only know this and I don't trust that. How do I find the truth? And one of the things that we each did was reached out to one another, because we knew that's a safe place to go to, one. But number two, and this is what is important to mention, is that in this middle ground where we haven't yet figured out where we are and what's happening and what to do and who's playing what part, and none of that matters, because we're dealing with the emotions and we're dealing with the confusion. So in this space and time, it is critically important for us to not be critical of anyone or anything, to be gentle with ourselves, to understand that it's okay to feel that pain, that it's okay to process the emotions, that it's okay to move forward not knowing where we're going or what's going to happen, but to trust yourself along the way and those connections you've made, to piece together the truths and to meld together the energies that are healing and that do support and that are seeking what is really the highest good for the collective, right?
Yeah, I
The
agree.
highest good for the collective is that we all come out of this not just ahead of the game, but in one freaking piece.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Part of that
Hmm.
puzzle is to be gentle with yourself. It's a transition. It's a really big road. It's a long haul. It's not something that changes overnight. You might wake up overnight and be like, oh my God, I'm not the same person. I don't see life the same way. However, the integration of that transition is very big, and you have to be very patient with yourself in that process. Just like the truth, you may not have all the pieces to the truth. It might take time for the truth to come completely out. Same as your evolution. You only get little bits and pieces of what you think you're moving into, and you got to trust it, but you can't beat yourself up for not knowing, right?
Right, right, right.
You
Exactly.
can't beat yourself up. You got to continue to move forward.
Yeah. Um, I think also, one of the things I got for this was help people that need it. Because, like, for example, when I was in this whole weekend of darkness, if I hadn't have reached out to people that care about me, or people that, that understand what I was going through, then I would have dealt with this all by myself. And
Yeah.
I would have probably
Scary.
spiraled even further, because it was heavy on
Yeah.
me. And so I think that not only reaching out to people that are a little less fortunate than you, or that that could use that help, um, people need to understand not everybody processes everything the same way. So if you
Yeah.
have those types of friends that, just check on your friends, check on the people that are less fortunate. Maybe some people that are homeless. Maybe some people that, because a lot of our friends live in the cities, and a lot of our friends live in areas where all this madness is happening. And, check on those people and just see if they need anything, because they may not have the courage to reach out. They may not have the courage to do that. So
Yeah.
that's
Or the
my,
capacity at this point, or the capacity,
yeah.
being paralyzed fear, being
Yeah.
paralyzed in depression, being paralyzed in the thought of, if I can't do anything to help, how can I do anything at all? I mean, you can go really spiraling into those
Yeah.
thoughts.
Yeah.
It's important at this time to be self-aware. When do you, like, because it's your higher self calling, it really is your higher self calling you to a deeper understanding of what's happening. And if you don't know what that looks like, or what higher self even is, how do you even know how to move?
Right.
So you just have to trust yourself within, that something's calling you to understand this. And maybe somebody else has a key to unlock something within you, to
Mm-hmm.
open up a little bit more, to let out some of the pains, and let yourself rise with that higher self and that higher understanding. Not that we can find an understanding in some of the things that have happened, but we really have to, for that individual journey. You have to find that understanding. That's a part of the evolution. That's a part of the transmuting. You
Yeah.
transmute what you don't know into what you do know, and that will work with you, right? Work
Right.
for you. I wanted
Right.
to read something really quick, if you don't mind.
No, I don't mind.
This was saying that you've got to remain as open as, I'm reading this about the green tourmaline, about the enlightenment. And it says, you must remain open as possible and sit in the space of self-awareness as the answer or the healing path is about to present itself. So in that fear, in that moment when you really think you have nothing or no one, it's literally that moment that it's starting to rise up within you. So it says, be patient, compassionate, non-judgmental of self at this time, and respect how hard you are working on your higher level to make the answer clear. Right? I mean,
Yeah,
that's huge.
because while you're
That's
speaking,
huge.
the thing that came to me was have objective decisions making, like be objective, and
Yep.
clear away everything that doesn't serve you anymore. Old
Yes.
things, old friends, because I've noticed that uh, just in some of the social media platforms that I am on, I do not resonate with some of the people and some of the things that's being said on their behalf, which that's fine. That's what they need. But I feel like for myself, a lot of these people aren't on the same vibration levels and so, I'm just going to let people fade in the background. And I think that a lot of people will be doing that. You'll find yourself probably noticing that maybe you don't resonate with these certain people, or maybe you need to look more objective to what is in, yeah, what's the
Your
word?
highest good. Yeah.
Yeah, for your highest good, for what is the best for you in the long run too, because we've got some difficult road times ahead, and we need the best
Yeah.
people possible on our sides,
Around us. Yeah.
literally,
And
like
remember, you got to remember too, that on social media, that platform, there's a lot of people who take thousands of friends, because in the spiritual community, that's kind of how you support one another. You just come in and we share our truths and we share our wisdom, and there's nothing wrong with having those people, but you have to remember, you don't know those people. And so
yeah,
what happens is, every group, I think somebody had said, who was it that said this, like 10% of all people are, all groups have like at least 10% of people who are bad. So if you can imagine, in your Facebook page or in your other social media platforms and in your life, that you're going to have these people who are the instigators, who say things just to get a rise out of you, who do it to create and cause and continue the corruption and the mayhem. And so why I'm bringing that up is because I found myself on Facebook going, well, I do this. I look at like their page and I'm like, look back. I'm like, okay, they've got a lot of really positive stuff. They're positive people. It's good information. It's lifting up the collective. I like that. And then I'll get a really crappy remark from them that's just really setting on fire a page or a comment or whatever. And I think to myself, like, that didn't feel good. It's not, oh, they have an opinion different than mine. It's, they meant it to not feel good. They meant it to
right.
bring you down. They meant it to take control of the conversation, put you in your place, or whatever that looks like. And I found myself over the last weeks and months asking myself, is it worth it for me to keep this person anywhere near me when I know that every time I see their name now, it brings up that frustration or that pain or that angst or that whatever. Because I watch too, like, are they the kind of people that are going to evolve out of a comment like that? We're all allowed to have a shitty comment or to have a bad day or to have a perspective that doesn't match everybody else. Everybody's allowed that. But to go into somebody else's life and just disrupt it with all of that stuff, negative stuff, is not helping you evolve. It's not helping you keep your vibration high. It's not helping you let the frequency of your soul continue to serve you in the way that it best can, that it's designed to. And so I found myself saying, you know, well, I felt my old self like, oh, I don't want to unfriend them. I mean, I've known them forever and it's so bad to, and you know, that's awful. No, hello, it's Facebook. Who cares? They have a right to their platform. You have a right to yours. And the thing is, so you delete them. Big deal. My page is public. Not everybody's page is public, but you have that opportunity. If you want people to see your stuff, put it public and they can come and see you. Who cares? If it doesn't feel good, get rid of it.
Yeah,
but give
exactly.
it a few times, you know, but trust your gut.
Yeah,
trust
sure.
your gut that if it doesn't feel good, it's okay to get rid of that energy because that's your space.
Yeah.
Whether it's on social media, whether it's in your work environment, that's your space and you deserve to have peace in it. And if the unrest is coming from you, man, that's a whole other subject, but you deserve to have that peace within you and you need to seek that out for yourself. And like I said, clean house, do it.
Yeah.
You can always friend them later if you want to.
Yeah, that's true.
But do it.
And that
it's
brings
your peace
up,
of mind.
Yeah, I agree. And that brings up for me, making fair decisions about your life and about your people and about what's going on.
Good, yeah.
And do what's right. You know, stand up for what you believe in and do what's right by you, by your family, by your loved ones, by the people that really care about you. And stand up for them, because a lot of people don't have a voice let me rephrase that. Everyone has a voice, but not everyone chooses to use it. So, you know, I noticed that for myself, a lot of people will send me things and say, oh, well, what about this? Or what about that? Or they'll ask me about this and send me all kinds of stuff for me to put out there to the collective, which is fine, because people already know that I'm a mouthy little thing. And, you know, and that's fine. But at some, you know, I choose what I put out there.
You did the work. You did the work, so you're able to do it.
Yeah.
You did the work on yourself.
Exactly.
You put it out there. You know your truth.
And so I stand up for everything that I believe in, and I stand up for a lot of things for people. Like, you know, I don't mind putting myself out there on social media, stating some of the things that I state. And, you know, I get a lot of backlash from that, and that's fine. But I'm not going to change the way I believe, and I don't think other people should either. However, if it's resonating,
but they don't know that yet.
Yeah, exactly. But if you're resonating on a low level and you're in with all the madness out in the world, you know, think about how to be fair. Look at it from different angles, like we were just talking about, looking at it from all angles and trying to and do what's right. Just do the right thing. Do what's right, not what other people are doing. You know, screw other people. Do what's right for you. You know.
Yeah. Well, and what happens in this environment is that you have that constant disarray, that emotional implosion, this emotional state that causes people to go out of their minds, almost like a freedom that they get. And, you know, it's funny. I've watched people evolve, wake up. I've watched people wake up. I've been a part of people waking up. And one of the things that I think that I love the most when someone's waking up is that aha moment when they actually rise into their awakening, and then they realize that they have a voice and that they can use it. And sometimes they overuse it in the beginning because they're like you hear it and you're like, all of a sudden it's oh, you know, it's like you're like ready to just scream from the mountaintop that like I have a voice and this is my position. And that's a lot of what's happening, is not just the opportunists, but I'm talking about the true collective that are like, you know, I've been in my family, we've not been allowed to speak because you don't embarrass your family, or I've not been allowed to have a voice because it's not in the order of, progression, that it's my turn to talk. And, there's all kinds of limitations that our family put on our family, our experience growing up, our lifetimes have put on us about how we use our voice, and that it's okay to even have one. And one of the most important things that I've witnessed in this waking up of people is that transition from being this little quiet, mousy person, who doesn't say anything or sugarcoats everything, to this person's like, I don't give a damn. This is what I think, and this is how I am. And it's almost like overkill. Like you shot the mark and you just went way over. But what happens is you do start to pull it back. You do start to have some discernment on what is really the importance of the elevation of your voice, and what is the importance of the projection of your voice, and what is important about the tonation and all of that stuff that goes along with sharing what's coming out of you through that voice box, that wonderful tool that we all have to express ourselves.
Right.
In that waking up process, the overshoot it's to be expected. So just let yourself do what you're going to do. But because the more you express yourself, the more you learn who you are and speak it clearly and eloquently, it will become eloquent, by the way. The more you do so, you will start shaping your life, not just in discernment, but in your own truth, and in the honesty of that truth, and in the expression of that truth, which is kind of rooted in your heart and your solar plexus level, the power of you. So the gentleness of your heart, the power of your soul coming together to express what's really inside of you. So use the voice, practice it, get it out there, talk to people you trust at first, like balance out. Am I getting this right? Does it make sense? Am I missing anything? What part of this do I need more information on? And get yourself whole. The idea is to be whole.
Yeah.
Because when you're whole, you will understand balance. And from balance, you will have the greatest perspective known to man. Mm-hmm. Right? From balance, you're going to have every angle possible to decide what's right, what's wrong, not just from your position, but from the higher self position.
Right.
So anyway.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. There's this cyclical nature of things, and you got to learn from it,
Yeah, I agree. And I think June is going to be, actually June, July, and August are going to be actually all of this year, but we'll take 1 month at a time.
Yeah, please don't make me go into the next month.
No,
I'm not ready.
No, we're going to do it one at a time. But, we're like, things are moving super fast this year. And
yeah. Oh my God.
And right now everything is happening all at once. And so I think with everything that's happening, we need to find the healing that we are able to, like, when you look at a situation and you think, what can I learn from this situation? So I think the healing part comes from, and the growth part comes from, how are you looking at it and how are you taking it?
Processing it.
Yeah.
How are you processing it?
I think it's, and I think if you need to seek out, help, seek it out, because we need a togetherness. We need a oneness. We need people to come together and help each other. Because
you'll find more people. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go.
I was just going to say, once you reach yourself out of your comfort zone, mm-hmm. you will not only find people who feel like you will find people who process what you feel like currently. And they will help you get to the other side of it, which is critical to your mental, spiritual, and emotional health. It's critical. The allowing yourself to reach out opens doors that weren't available to you before.
Right.
Because you didn't put yourself out there to do it.
Yeah. And one of the ending messages that I have for everyone is, ultimately, I always feel like love is the answer to everything. So I feel like, if even in the dark days, you know, I'm using myself as an example for this weekend. I was in a really tough spot, but I kept thinking of how I can like change and pull up out of it. And then love is love for other people and love for yourself, and you know, and sending out that love energy to people, you know, like I was describing in that video earlier, and people that are so angry, just sending out love. And if you can find that and harness that in togetherness with other people, and I'm not talking about just love, I'm talking about a compassion, a deep care for people
A
other than
reverence.
yourself, you know?
Yeah, reverence. Yeah, I
Um,
agree. You know, I
Go
wanted
ahead.
to say that, oh, sorry, were you talking still? I thought
No,
you
no, no, no,
finished.
no. You're good.
Um, we talked a lot about the emotions that are coming up, the explosiveness of our emotions. And, you know, we have, I don't want to get into this spiritual woo-woo stuff, but I'm going to talk about the first two bodies that we have. We have the emotional, the emotional body and the mental body. And a lot of what's driving what's happening and what's provoking what's happening is our emotional bodies, is people not in control of their emotional bodies. So the first point of to understand and master each of these bodies that we have, the first step is the first point of entry, which is your emotions. This is love, feeling, the emotional focus of truthfulness of and with yourself. It's identify and overcome manipulation and control, because those two things do a lot to our emotional state. Controlling your emotions, i.e., like knowing where they come from and what triggers them. These things, these I don't know how to say it. These points of reference within our emotional body are drivers for our behavior.
Oh,
Our
absolutely.
emotions, unchecked, are explosive. And when you add your explosive energy and emotion with somebody else's explosive energy and emotion, it is unkept. Um, no, unkept mayhem, right? It's unleashing um, unbalanced energies. So the very first thing you do is you've got to pull back within yourself and say, wait a minute. Yes, these are my emotions. Where's it coming from? What in me is being triggered by this outside force? Am I affected by it personally? Is this the best way to manage my feelings about it? Is me beating somebody? Is me and not to make fun of that, but I'm saying, like, the full extent of our emotions goes from going internal and beating yourself up and going external and beating somebody else up. I mean, come on, that's the extent of it, right? So if you can find yourself in your emotional body, where in you is being triggered, what is happening to you in those moments, then you can gain control. You can find out, is this coming from me? Is it coming from outside? Am I paying attention to my points of reference, or am I pulling it in from everybody else who says I should feel this, or who feels this and they're drawing me in with them and their feelings? So
Hmm.
once you have control of those triggers of your emotional body, the second step and point of entry is your mental body. Okay,
Right.
your mental body, that's your logic, your reasoning. You gain control of yourself. Like you gain control of, when you gain control of the mental body, you gain control of self-sabotage and what they call mental cage fighting, right? Where you're talking to yourself in your head, you're having an argument with somebody in your head, and then you've already figured out the whole argument. So by the time you get to them, you're fighting mad and they're like, hi, because they had no idea that you had a whole fight with them in your head. So the idea is, mental control is your awareness of what you're doing in your own brain cells. What are you doing in your own head? What does that look like? The awareness without the movement. So the control of the mental body, so the control of the mental body is your observation, is you having control enough to observe what thoughts are affecting my mental body, because my mental body is moving my physical body, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
So
But
so
yeah.
when you can control your emotional body and figure out, where's this coming from? Where are you poking me? What hurt in me are you poking? Where can I see that coming from me? And then once you do that, you go back and you look at that thought. Like, what did I do with that poke? What did I do with that emotion? Where in my brain cell have I heard I'm an idiot, or I'm oppressed? 100 million times in my head. How many times? And now somebody says you're oppressed on the outside, provoking your emotion. Now you've gone in your head, found all the stories about being oppressed, whether it was you or not you. And now you have all these stories about being oppressed and held back and whatever else, whether it has anything to do with you or not. That's how magical the brain is, how much information it keeps in there. And we reference it on a day-to-day basis. Oh, you called me this. I heard this stupid word. I go back in my head. Oh, they called me stupid when I was 2 and 5 and 10 and 14. And they had a whole thing on my report at school. It was stupid. And some kid tripped me and called me. All of a sudden you have all these things saying, yeah, you're right. I've heard it 500 million times in my head. I must really be stupid. 500 million times in my head. I must really be oppressed. And I'm going to give you an example. This is a silly example, but I'm going to say it anyway. When my kids were young, I would talk all the time about these dogs that we had. We had a dog named Shadow. We had a dog named Candy. And we had a dog named Toshi. Well, Candy had long passed away. And when I was a young girl, we had Shadow and Toshi. And I would talk to my kids day in and day out about the dogs because they wanted a dog so bad. And they would talk Mom, I want a dog, and can we get a dog? And so I would tell them stories about my dog. Oh my gosh, when Shadow used to do this, and then Toshi would sit and do this, and they would chase each other around, and then, well, years and years and years of stories of me telling them about these dogs. Flash forward to my kids in their older years talking about Shadow and Toshi and talking about these dogs as if they were alive when they were born and that they lived with them in their lifetime as we grew up. Mom, whatever happened to Shadow and Toshi? I'm like, those were my dogs when I was a kid. I just used to tell you stories, but you remember the stories so vividly, you feel like they were yours.
Right.
And that's a little bit what the emotional body does. When you hear stories over and over again about all of these things happening, you begin to feel, because we all are connected, we all understand the pain of one another. So in that space, we start to feel it as it's our own. But we do have control over that. We do have the ability to separate the emotion from the thought, from our physical action. And we must take responsibility for those three things. So, I love that story about my kids because it's such the innocence of the children to take these memories and embody them and make them theirs. But now take this into your adulthood when they're not such good memories. And when people are sharing stories of oppression from generations back. And now you have white people saying, oppression. And but it's just crazy. I heard a woman tonight on a video saying, stop saying this about Black Lives Matter. I'm Black. I'm not oppressed. I'm free. Why are you putting that agenda on me? So this is free thinking people. She has separated her emotions from her thoughts. She has been able to see, look, the more you tell me I'm oppressed, the more I'm going to start thinking I'm oppressed. The more you keep telling me I'm being broken, the more I'm going to think that you're breaking me. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And so the importance of control over your mental body, over your emotional body is paramount to your finding that peace and balance within yourself. You can take on any story of the collective from any lifetime, from any generation, from any minute by minute move in your day. Pick the ones that are going to serve you, pull yourself out of them, and then rise through them so that you could take the lesson to the next people, to the next generation, and show them they are not oppressed. They're only please don't take this wrong. I'm not saying there isn't oppression and that there aren't bigoted, horrible people in the world and racist people in the world, because there are. They did exactly what my kids did with the dogs. They took on that information and bad experiences and whatever else and brought it into this lifetime. Don't take that on yourselves. That is them. That is their brokenness. You don't have to take on the brokenness of other people. Like this wonderful, wonderful Black woman who was saying, stop doing that to us. You are the problem. You are calling us oppressed, and you are fighting for an oppression. We didn't ask you to fight for us. And I want you to think about that for a moment. Nobody's asking you at this moment to heal you. Nobody's asking you at this moment to go in and find that balance. Never have, but maybe now's the time. Instead of pulling the past with you into the future, stop for a moment and get yourself balanced and find out who you are and how you are triggered and what you brought with you to bring these hurts to the surface, and then bring them out and punish other people with them. And all I'm saying is, in this process, know yourself so well that you know when somebody comes at you with something that's not yours, you can easily push it away. And you can easily offer them the healing that you learned from knowing yourself so well. And I know this sounds like preaching, Anna. Please accept it as the healing it is. Because words are healing. They're very powerful. And if you allow yourself to take on words of other people that don't resonate with you, if you haven't done your healing, you're going to break yourself. If you've taken those words and those actions and that unhealed behavior. Take the time to know yourself. Take your time to get balanced. Take your time to know what's yours and what's not yours. And then make the freaking right decision to evolve your soul to the level of freedom. Because that's what oneness is. It's freedom. It's not somebody fighting for your oppression. Because people like to fight for your limitation. If you don't have a limitation, then fight for your damn freedom. Because that's what this is about. Sorry. Off my soapbox now.
I think it's a lot of things. I think it's a lot of things, and like I said,
a good preaching session.
we could talk for hours about everything, but it's not worth it because
no, it isn't. It isn't.
Only people.
But that's a tool.
They're just going to take what they need, and I will say one more thing. Along with your story, I watched last night when I was in my zone after I told myself I had to step away from all the videos and everything. A very good friend of mine works I don't want to say too much because this person, I don't want to expose a person, but this person works a very important job, and sent me a video last night of a riot. And this person is face to face in the riot. And I could hear this boy. I'm going to call him a boy because I don't think any sane man would do something like this, but I could be wrong. This group of guys, you can see them in the video, and you could see all the police officers, and anyway, so this boys are having this conversation in this video, and they're throwing out a bunch of F-bombs and languages and shit, it's like craziness. And so this one kid says, I remember, I couldn't hear what the other guy says, but he says, "I don't give a damn. We'll blow this bitch up." Okay, now, in that moment, I thought to myself, if this boy didn't have the influence of his friends, like just keep pushing and keep pushing and keep pushing and keep pushing, would that boy really want to blow that up? And probably not. You know what I mean?
No.
So it's like exactly what we're talking about. It's think for yourself, do the work yourself. Don't expect other people to give you what you need, because they're going to guide you in the wrong damn way.
Well, they're going to guide you in their own way. They're going to guide you in their own way.
That's a better word. Not in their own way, not in the way that you need to go. And, just like we were talking about, even for myself, I sought out guidance, and I needed some wisdom, and I needed somebody to put a clear thought in my brain, because my brain was swimming in sadness and darkness and pain, literal pain. And so I took the words of several people that I spoke to over the weekend, and I processed all of it. And today was such a good day that, because I woke up this morning, I was very thankful. I gave gratitude for even being alive, and was like, okay, we're going to make this better. Totally. And I went and checked my mail today, and I got the sweetest note from a client, and all it said was, "Because I love you," and she gave me a check. And I literally cried sitting in the post office reading that, and I was just like, this is exactly what I needed today, because this client of mine is
Totally get it.
so wonderful, but it was just in that moment that I was like, I know why I got to pull my shit together. And then after that, and it had nothing to do with the check. It had everything
No,
to
I
do with
know.
the note.
It was
And
just her gratitude showing you yours.
yeah. And then I remembered, that's why I'm here, because I want other people to feel that. If I can give that to other people, that's what I'm here for. And if I can give guidance, if I can give, I don't care to put myself out there and look like a total buffoon or a total whack job. I don't care. But if one person says, you know, something like that to me, then it's worth it.
Right. That's what everybody's looking for, is that, that's actually the goal, is to find what works for you. I had a lady call me from, and this is a tool I think that you guys should really practice, is in these moments of real, I mean, they're real catalyst moments. They really are. In these moments, it is so critical for you to take a moment to yourself at any given point in the day, to be alone and connect yourself with your own source, your higher self, source, God, whatever it is for you, and actually have that conversation. Because time and time again, proof will be given to you that you are getting the answers that you need. And in times like this, it's so important to check in with yourself. You're right. I did that about a week or so ago. Did I tell you that? Did I tell you what happened when I did that?
No.
I asked, I said, because I was wondering, am I doing the right thing? I mean, do I just sound like an idiot? Do people even know what I'm saying? Do they understand? Does it matter? Does it matter that I share this stuff? And like you, I'm like, what does it look like? What does it sound like? Am I going to feel terrible? You know what? I went through the gamut of emotion and I didn't care, right? But I still wanted to know, God, am I on the right path? By yourself, am I on the right path? Am I doing the right thing? And I asked the question one night, and I kid you not, within hours, I had 4 different confirmations. One from about 2015. I had done a reading for someone, prophesied something for someone in 2015, and she came back. I'm not kidding you. 1, 2, 3. This person came back and said, hey, when you said this happened, I just wanted to say thank you, because here I am now with that information. Another person wrote and said, you know, oh my God, what you just did, blah, blah, blah. I asked for confirmation. I asked, am I on the right path? And within about a 3-hour period, I had 4 people from different walks of life, different time frames in my life doing this work, who came back and showed me. I planted a seed in 2015, and in 2020, somebody remembered me from that seed.
Right.
Another person about, see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Put it out there. If you're in confusion, if you're in doubt, if you're in fear, connect and say, what am I supposed to be doing? What is right for me? Am I on the right path? And then you wait for your answer to come, but don't just wait. Don't just keep praying. Look for it in all of the synchronicities and in all of the actions that come to you, like a check in the mail out of nowhere that you weren't expecting. And that's your confirmation. Wow, I must be on my path. This is my confirmation. And if it's not clear and you say, is this my confirmation? Another one's going to come really shortly thereafter. Yes, you're on your path. Yes, you're doing the right thing. And if not, you're going to know it, because those messages are very clear.
Right. Well, I think that wraps us up, Lisa. I hope that everybody out there stays safe and
healthy and whole.
Healthy, safe. Keep your mind right. Reach out. And thank you for watching our videos. If you haven't subscribed, please do so, and check us out on Facebook. Subscribe on Facebook and other social media. And our links will be below, so you can subscribe to everything. And we thank you so much for joining us tonight. And I love you all. I hope to see you again in a few weeks.
Yeah, thanks you guys. Thanks for having me. And just remember, the whole point of this is love and to find our way back to it.
Yes. Thank you, Lisa. It was a pleasure.
Thanks, friend. Have a great day.
You too.